Hello and welcome to the South Indian. My name is Sudha Sadanan, and as always I shall bring to you 9 top stories from the south of India. The first story coming up: News9 gains exclusive access to the Quota Committee's interim report flagging mismanagement during the Covid crisis. That's the big story. News9 Exclusive this is, because we have access to the Quota's panel interim report on Covid mismanagement. What is the real story? Telling you right now. News9 has obtained exclusive access to the interim report submitted by the Quota Committee on Covid Mismanagement. The committee in its report has raised very serious objections to measures taken to manage the Covid crisis during the tenures of Chief Minister B.S. Yediyurappa and Basavaraj Bommai. Let me add, both of them BJP Chief Ministers. According to the report, private labs which were not officially recognized by the government were billed for Covid testing without any proper work orders. There are also other accusations against the National Health Mission's Managing Director for facilitating testing at specific labs without following due transparency. Yet another key concern centered around Covid-related achievements with claims of unlawful expenditures. Additionally, the MD of BMTC reportedly authorized a payment of 8.85 lakhs to a private company without permission. There are also allegations of BPO services being provided without any kind of an agreement. Now, Karnataka's Chief Secretary has even recommended an investigation into these irregularities. For more on this story, I'm joined by my colleague Mohammad Bajiullah, who's reported on this story and is now live with us from Bengaluru. Baji, this is a very important story, and you will agree, of course, that in this entire matrix of who's more corrupt, I think this concerns you and I, the people of Karnataka, as it were. And Baji, also correct me, wasn't Dr. Sudhakar at the time Health Minister when the Covid crisis had broken in Karnataka? So tell me something, where does one go after this? Will the investigations be initiated, Baji?
Well, Sudha, you are right. These are things that concern all of us, in fact, and this report that we are highlighting to our viewers is something that is exclusive and exclusive to us. It is something that indicates the corruption that took place during the COVID-19 time, highlighted by the Michael Lacuna report. Now, Mr. Sudhakar was the health minister at that point of time, but before them, it was Sri Ramulu who was the health minister. But if you look at the chain of events, this report clearly indicates how there was mismanagement with regards to the lab testing that had taken place during that time. If you remember that during the COVID time, the ICMR was the central body which was giving orders on how the state should handle its COVID protocols. And it had also designated a few testing labs in the various states that these are the labs in which we have to get our testing done. What this COVID report, what this Michael Lacuna report indicates is that 14 such laboratories were utilized by the Karnataka government at that point of time, which were not verified by the ICMR. Now, these testing labs were given close to 6 crores, and out of which there are a set of 8 labs which were given money without their services. That is why this report becomes even more important. The other thing that you would ask, what will happen after this? For now, what we have is the interim report of the Michael Lacuna report. As soon as we get the complete report, that is when we'll get an idea on what the government is doing. But we, as of now, have access to the few pages which includes corruption in PPE kits, which includes corruption, indication of corruption during for testing, and it also includes corruption in the places where advertising was done on the tune of on the orders of BBMP. When BMTC, when it had nothing to do with the entire management of health and services.
You know, Vaji, I remember at that time, even the figures, the death figures, everything used to be a big sham. That's what some people said. Pardon. They said that how come, the figures are different for 1 week, then it would change for the next week. These are claims made by others. But somehow I saw videos from doctors, who would upload these videos and say, See, this hospital where I'm working, private hospital, one day they are charging 600 rupees, the other day they are charging 1200 rupees. Patients also had a problem. Isn't it true that somewhere then the Karnataka government decided that they will put a cap on the testing?
Well, yes, the cap was actually put by the central government in this matter because it was the central government that was deciding. If you remember, so that we were under the Epidemics Act, and under the Epidemic Act, it clearly mentioned that whatever protocol that has been followed in the entire country should be given by the Central Health Ministry, and the state is incumbent but to follow that protocol that has been given by them. So all the details that any state, be it Karnataka, Maharashtra, Kerala, or you name it, had to follow what orders were given by them. They had designated testing labs that were decided by the central government. They were designated PPE kits provider that was decided by them. It was only on the later stage when the demand was high and the supply was not there. That is when the Indian companies were roped in and they were advised to start producing more and more PPE kits. You remember there was an entire where we saw a lot of companies coming out and producing sanitizers, a lot of companies coming out making masks. And then there was another order that said that there are only certain masks that will help you save yourself from COVID-19. And N95 came into the picture at that point of time. So all these things, protocols that were given by the center. But here in this report, it clearly shows how there was mismanagement done by the then state government by not following those orders and by giving contracts to companies that were not in the list.
But you tell me something, you have access, you've gained access, exclusive access, if I may say, to the interim report. And I want to ask you that as a journalist who's been following this story and breaking several aspects of it, what is the main thing that stands out for you in this Daquina report?
Well, the main thing that stands out, if you ask me, is how there were testing labs that were given work with regards to testing the problems or the testing the problems that people had or COVID testing at that point of time. Because if you remember, when it comes to PPE kits, these were kits that were not available easily for us. And that time, you had to procure whatever you could from anybody. So when it comes to PPE kit, anything we could have got our hands to at that point of time was fine. Testing was something that was very important because that was the one that could tell us that this person has COVID or that person has COVID. But if these labs did not have those criteria, did not have those preparations for testing, and if these were the labs that were given the responsibility of testing the people of Karnataka, then it clearly gives us an indication that yes, there was mismanagement.
All right. On that note, thank you very much, Mohammad Wajihullah, for joining us on this top story today on the South Indian. And the next story, which is coming up on your screen. It seems that there is a proposal by the Karnataka government considering for 4% reservation for Muslims in government contracts, although Deputy Chief Minister D.K. Shivakumar has denied it vociferously. What's the real story? That's coming up. All right, that's the big story. 4% Muslim reservation in Karnataka soon. We are asking a question because there's been a lot of ho hum, yes, no, etc. about this, and a huge controversy has erupted in Karnataka after reports that the state government was mulling over a proposal to bring Muslims under the scope of reservation in public contracts for construction, that is civil works. Sources have said that the Siddaramaiah government is all set to table the bill in the winter session of the assembly. However, hours later, the Chief Minister's office cleared the air and said that although there have been demands for reservation, there is no proposal so far. Deputy Chief Minister D.K. Shivakumar said as much. Listen in.
No question of any reservation, nothing has been done, nothing has been discussed, nothing in the cabinet. It is all false at the time of election. They are just trying to create confusion. There is no question of any reservation on any contract, on any issue.
Now, before the denial, and this was seen as Chief Minister Siddaramaiah's push to consolidate the Ahindas, that is minorities, backward classes and Dalits grouping, something that Siddaramaiah is credited for having done in the past. The denial has actually created more confusion than before because politicians, as you well know, are masters of speaking differently at different times. If you go back just a few months, that is April 2024, Siddaramaiah had vociferously defended the proposal and had taken to X and said as follows: this is not something done now. It has been based on the reports of the Backward Classes Commission, starting from the one headed by L.G. Havanur. In 1974, this reservation has been in place for the past 3 decades. Neither the BJP government previously in power at the state nor the Narendra Modi-led union government that has been in power for the past 10 years has questioned this reservation. Moreover, no one, including the BJP, has challenged it in court. Now, as per the original plan, the proposal was to give reservation to Muslims in public contracts for construction up to ₹1 crore on the lines of reservation given to SC and ST communities. This comes as the state government has already provided 24% quota to SC/ST and certain backward classes in the government contracts. Presently, Karnataka has 43% reservation in government contracts, OBC in category 1, which is 4%, category 2A is 15%, and if the proposal finds ratification to include Muslims, then the quota limit will be pushed to 47%. Now, after the Waqf controversy, which put the Siddaramaiah government at the back foot, this proposal to extend 4% reservation for Muslims is also being viewed as minority appeasement. BJP leader Amit Malviya alleged how religion-based reservation is a gross contempt of the constitution. He took to platform X, and I quote him here: Siddaramaiah administration in Karnataka is evaluating a proposal to provide reservations to Muslims in public contracts for construction, that is civil works. If Muslims are given this quota in Karnataka, then whose share will be cut? SC, ST or OBCs? In Telangana too, Muslims have been given 4% reservation, eating into the share meant for the socially backward communities. In Maharashtra, Congress-led MBA has accepted Jinnah-like demand of the All India Ulema Board. It is all about Muslim votes for the Congress in gross contempt of the constitution, which precludes any religion-based reservation. Ladies and gentlemen, can we assume that the Siddaramaiah-led Karnataka government has developed cold feet over the proposal? Particularly in the past, after the National Commission for Backward Classes had said that it shall summon the Karnataka Chief Secretary over the blanket reservation given to Muslim community in the state? Or is it just waiting to evaluate how it can dovetail other communities under the ambit for an even keel? Let's debate. My guest this evening, Nizam Fauzdar, General Secretary and Spokesperson for the KPCC, and Anand Gurumurthy, Spokesperson for the BJP in Karnataka. A very warm welcome to both of you. Nizam, I want to ask you, have you scrapped the proposal or are you reviewing it?
Sudha, I don't think so. We need to scrap it because it's an inclusion of every community in the participation of every activity, every job, everything. It's about the holistic approach towards the development of the country. And if the BJP thinks it can alienate one community, two communities, or the three communities for their political gain and their the poisonous agenda that they have, I think the country will not accept it. The people of this country will not accept it. We will stand by what we say. We will definitely oblige with our policies.
Very well said, Nizam. But then why is your Chief Minister and also the Deputy Chief Minister says there is no proposal, nothing so far, they are all rigging it up because of the elections? So is the party and the government speaking in a forked tongue? Because it seems like they are not interested right now. They are not even mulling over it, Nizam.
I think if you see the way the BJP has played its cards in the last 15-20 days across the country about how it wants to divide the nation, you can really see the evidence how it has tried to divide the nation into vertical half. The question today is that whether a government wants to make sure every community is in the social justice framework. Yes, if Mr. Siddaramaiah and DK Shivkumar has said, we are mulling, and I don't think so. We should take everything in a doubt or in definitive manner.
No,
the
DK
BJP
Shivkumar,
is always against
I understand
the community.
I understand because Siddaramaiah in 1994 had said, Siddaramaiah in just April had said that this has been in place since 1994. So let's wait and see. I defended it in Bidar, you remember, in April. But then the way DK is just, we'll play the bite again. Let's quickly play DKS's bite and then I go to Anand Gurumurthy. Just listen to him.
No question of any reservation, nothing has been done, nothing has been discussed, nothing in the cabinet. It is all false at the time of election. They are just trying to create confusion. There is no question of any reservation on any contract, on any issue.
I mean, ladies and gentlemen, that's for you to clearly see that either DK Shivakumar is now trying to deflect the issue or Nizam is just being very, very polite to say we believe in social justice. Anand Gurumurthy. Hi, I hope you're doing well. Anand Gurumurthy,
Yes,
there is one argument that this community, so far as their role in being contracts, they're not well represented. Don't you think that they should be well represented? What is your main contention? Is your contention this fear that if they give it to the Muslims, who are they taking it away from? Maybe they are not. Maybe just increasing it, from 43 to 47%. So what's your problem? Where is the appeasement? Because after all, Muslims are also part of your constituents in Karnataka.
We have no issues if they do it in the way the constitution is defined. Any extra constitutional decisions, let them take the parliament approval, let them take the assembly approval, let them do whatever they want, which is good for the people. And see, as you said, Muslims also belong to this country. So we don't have any issues if it is within the constitution's ambit. Otherwise, what happens? Other people will go question in the court and it will be dissolved. So even the Muslims will not get, and even the contracts will not get executed properly. And finally, what happens is what Congress is looking for. I want to explain this little bit, Sudha. Sure. See, what they do is, one person, they play a good cop, bad cop here. One person, one minister comes and speaks for it, or they live out a news in the media about this, and the discussion starts. Then one person comes and denies it. Now, the news coverage, when you do it, you cover both for 20 minutes or 30 minutes and give a clear picture to the people of what has happened. But what these people, they do is, they take these videos, cut into what portion they want, and supply it to the right communities through WhatsApp, Telegram, and other social media channels. This way, they are actually confusing the electorate, whether it is Hindus, Muslims, or any other caste or anything. They now have numbers and other things grouped together, and they only supply videos which will add to more confusion. So one of the electorate believes that the reservation is done, the other believes that the reservation is not done. Finally, nothing is done, nothing happens, and finally everybody suffers. But who is in the advantageous position? Mr. Siddaramaiah and his government. The Congress is doing this from last 2-3 years. They have become experts in this, and this is what is killing our country now, and that is the thing that we are opposing, Siddha. It's not about whom they are giving what. If they are doing the scientific way and they are helping people, that is the best thing that can happen in our country. But they are not doing that. They did this last 70 years using media by by having different articles written in different voices in different newspapers and circulating it. But now they are using this video thing.
Take a break, Anand, let me take a break. Then I come back and we dive into the same debate. See you on the other side.
The next Indian icons, beating everyone on the globe, B6E and XEV9E. Mahindra's electric origin SUVs. Catch them at Unlimit India.
Why is the state not looking at putting an embargo on that?
As a Telangana person, I will not accept.
How do ordinary folks deal with this?
this edition, in the first on point, we are going to talk about BJP has made the issue of guarantee.
Yes, of course, because Congress has gone ahead.
If Republicans come to power, how will the position on trade, tax and climate change? Is the ceasefire on line of actual control proving to be a liability for the Indian Army?
I personally feel ceasefire is ceasefire. We fulfill to the fullest of expectation.
All right, that's the story that we are doing. 4% Muslim reservation in Karnataka soon. That's the question. I have two experts with me. One is Nizam Fauzdar, General Secretary spokesperson for the KPCC, and Anand Gurumurthy, spokesperson for Karnataka BJP. Let me now go to Nizam Fauzdar. Nizam, you opened this conversation by saying, why not? And you said we are mulling over it, although we played you DK's bite where he's clear, no proposal, nothing doing or whatever. That's his style, one understands. But Nizam, I want to ask you, tell me something. If you give 4% reservation in government contracts, civil works to the Muslims, how is it going to empower them? Do you think that their community has been marginalized in so far this sector is concerned? You have different categories of people. There is CST category 1, 2. It also has some Christians in its ambit. But the Muslims really don't have a great representation. And what would you like to say about that? I mean, how is it going to help the Muslims here?
See, Sudha, when the BJP says that, the reservation is a problem, the reservation is a problem for them because they believe in marginalizing the people across the sections. SC/ST has about 24%, OBC's category 1 has about 4%, OBC section, category 2A has about 15 proposed. If 4% for the Muslims doesn't really make a huge impact over the way Mr. Amit Shah and Modi says कि मैं आके हटा दूंगा, ये सारी चीजें मुसलमानों को दे देंगे, ये सारी चीजें मुस्लिम्स को दे देंगे, ये मंगलसूत्र उतार के उनको दे देंगे, जमीन दे देंगे. I think this kind of a narrative has basically created a fear monger among the larger sections of the community. What I simply say is the representation of the society, it has to be in a wholesome, rather than having a one-tilted, approach. The BJP is playing its cards for the Maharashtra elections.
So tell me,
BJP is playing these cards for the various elections that is going on across.
Why are you then? Why is your Deputy Chief Minister not playing the card? He says no proposal. What should I take it as?
So
even the Chief Minister's office, sir, he said no proposal, no reservation. What is this?
No, the proposal is not tabled in the cabinet. So he is correct in what he's saying.
Will you bring it in the winter session?
In the due time.
Will you bring it in the winter session?
Discussions will definitely happen in the due time. The question is, does the BJP want to completely alienate one community and say you have no adhikar, you have no rights, you have nothing to do with anything that is constructive across the country? Either it could be in the infrastructure, it could be in the education,
Anand,
it could be in the economic, the work. So how is that BJP saying that the Congress or any other party?
Yeah, sure. But at least today on this debate, I get to feel that the BJP is clear in what it wants to say. But you don't seem to be speaking, repeating what your Deputy Chief Minister is saying. The Deputy Chief Minister, D.K. Shivakumar, is clearly trying to deflect the issue and say, let Chennai be over, then we will talk about it. Arey, what has that got to do? You got a fabulous victory in the last elections and also most of the Muslims voted for you. You have Muslim support. Look at Telangana. That's an example. Look at, of course, Karnataka was the first example. Anand Gurumurthy, if I can have you on the screen. Anand Gurumurthy, nothing is going to move. It's not like a toffee I have under the table and I will distribute it. The Backward Commission, is the deciding factor. They will decide. What objections will you have if the Muslims are taken under the larger ambit of OBCs in Karnataka? Then what do you do?
See, if it is constitutionally done, we will not be able to do anything.
Why are you doubting it? Why are you doubting
it? Because the way
we are not a banana republic, no.
But the problem is Siddaramaiah is running the show like that. Okay, every day he's doing something. For example, the issue of waqf. They say one day, and the farmers are given notices. Then the notices are taken back. They're just confusing people. They'll not do anything. They'll not do anything which is constructive for the people. They will just make communities fight. They will just ensure that people are in confusion. And Muslim leaders should understand that these people are not serving the purpose either of the Muslim community or the country. Okay, both they are,
No, Anand, the Chinnappa Reddy Commission, would you agree that historically the Chinnappa Reddy Commission in 1994 had recommended the 4% reservation? Now let's talk about your Chief Minister, who, Baswaraj Bommai, he got it scrapped. Why?
Here, there is a point, Sudha, which is very, very clear. Okay, see, the same reservation, according to Constitution clearly says, reservation cannot be given based on religion. So, it is very clear that anybody goes to the court, it will get scrapped. Already in the Telangana, this thing, it has gone to court and it's in the Supreme Court. So, what is the point in, giving something and, then denying it to people by not implementing it? They're just keeping it on paper. Where is the implementation? All these Muslim leaders should ask that, where is the implementation? You have not implemented anything. You're just putting it on paper. Nobody is getting benefited. And what is the point here? So, if they really want to change things, let them ensure that it is implemented. People are getting something out of it, which will improve the community and also the country. But that is not happening anywhere. And see, whenever any Muslim leader speaks, he always says that BJP is bad. In fact, they say to all their voters, don't vote BJP. They will, threaten you.
Arey, come on, Anand Gurumurthy. I'm not a Muslim. No, I'm not from any other community. And let me say, in defense of the minorities, you as a party, if you keep fear mongering, obviously I will not vote for you. No, everywhere you isolate me. You say, if they take reservation from, let us say, for the sake of the argument from the Kurubas.
Give me 1 minute of time. See, very clearly, 10, 11 years of our governance, where have we denied anything to Muslims? Where have we denied, any short?
You can't. There is a constitution in this country.
That is the point I'm coming to, Sudha. And one more thing, the talaq issue, okay, which was very, very important to the Muslim women. It was the BJP government which implemented it. Show me a Muslim leader who supported it properly.
Nizam,
Show me one thing. Ask Nizam further. What is his opinion about that?
Nizam, I want to ask you, what is this clubbing all Muslims as backward, for reservation? All Muslims are not backward. Then what about social justice? What about social justice, boss? You can't put everyone under one umbrella. You are backward. I mean, I could belong to a backward community, but I'm not backward that way. I'm economically maybe forward, or I could be an upper caste, but I could be backward. So why are you, if you speak about social justice, this goes against what our preamble talks about, what the constitution talks about.
Sudha, I think the way Mr. Anand is speaking, I don't think so he even understands what the social justice means. Talaq kisko benefit hua bhai? 0.01% is the divorce rate in Muslim community. Who said that every day, every random person is, calling triple talaq and saying that every Muslim lady is suffering because the Indian Muslims are so bad and so, terrible that they call talaq in every fortnight and say, bhag jao yahan se. Yaar, data to pad lo yaar. It's less than a percent, much less than a percent. It is much lesser than the Hindus. So you don't have to say that you are giving, justice to us.
No.
You please, no, listen, Sudha. When they say, when Anand Gurumurthy says that we are playing appeasement politics. What kind of appeasement politics is BJP playing? What is the kind of the policies that the BJP has got?
Just listen to what Anand is saying.
आपके पास कुछ नहीं है, मेरी बात करने दीजिए. Please let me speak. You have nothing concrete to say that you have involved with
straightforward question, please answer that. Was
the backward communities forward and given them?
Why didn't you answer my question, Nizam Fauzdar? Why put all the Muslims under the backward category? Why do you do that?
You have empowered people. What, Sudha?
Why put all Muslims under the ambit of backward for
Yeah,
reservation
let me tell
purposes?
you, for that, please read the Sachar committee. I'm not saying that I would want
Sure.
reservation. I want a brother who is weaker, who is really backward to take that right.
But
I
some
don't
Muslim
need it today.
anyway.
I don't think so. My family needs it. So there will be a lot of families who don't need it. But if you look at the whole the community, it has become more than backward. You read the Sachar committee, the education empowerment today within Muslims is the lowest. The employment is the lowest.
You know,
You
also,
take
okay.
any section of the
Okay. Yeah,
any
I've read
section
the
of the
Sachar committee report and I
society,
think it's the
we
most
are low.
respected report.
We are
I'm
really
not
down.
gainsaying. Yeah, right. Anand Gurumurthy, I want you know what? There are also reports that the Vokaligas and the Lingaites now are up in arms. They say if you give reservation like that, so there is more confusion which is coming up. That's what I've been hearing. That's what my reporter Mohammad Wajiullah is telling me, that this is not going to end here.
Now, you know what, Sudha, one Lingayat leader from the Congress will come and say, yes, we are doing it. One Vakaliga leader will come and say, yes, we are doing it. And one more leader from another community in Congress will come and say, no. And it will all come in media. They'll take only those videos and then send it to people of those communities and confuse them. So this is the way Congress is playing. They're just, releasing paper tigers here and there, making it media video so that, good channels like you take it up, and then they supply those videos to people, confuse them completely. Only the cut and paste videos. This is what they're doing, Sudha, and that's their agenda, that's all. And in the
I get that. But tell me, if you say you're not against reservation, Anand Gurumurthy, why do you think that the Muslims should get 4% reservation?
See, Amit Pandya has very clearly told, and I've reiterated in this show. See, if it is within the constitution, see, if there are some backward classes people within the Muslim community and they need it, yes, let them take it, okay? But constitution denies based on religion. So even if it is given, somebody goes and questions in the court, nothing happens for that 4%, then finally in the cabinet level, they'll give all those contracts to whomever they want. No Muslim will be benefited, neither the genuine community from any other genuine person from any other community will be getting those contracts. It will be the quota of these Congress.
Then what about if you think that it is not based on religion and if it should be based only on their backwardness? Prime Minister Modi talks about Paswanda Muslims. Who are they?
That's what I'm coming to. See, basically there are many sections of Muslims who are quite poor, and they have to be dealt with extra support from the governance body. And BJP has never denied, as I said, to any citizen of this country, be it a Muslim, Christian, Sikh, or Hindu, or any subcaste of any religion. Okay, we have never denied anything based on the constitutional rights that have been defined. And for people financially backward, even if the upper caste, we introduced the EWS. So all this is done by BJP according to the book, because the book.
Okay, you've done, yeah, right. So you've done, but let me also remind you, and you should agree, Anand Gurumurthy, that it was Siddaramaiah, who introduced reservation in contracts for SC/STs, and earlier this year, 2 OBC category also got the same benefit. Do you credit him with that?
See, whatever, if the work is done well and it's their.
No, do you credit him? Do you credit him?
No, wait 1 second. Okay, credit will be given only when their quota is not getting the contract. See, even if they give any reservation, they have a quota of people whom they will, supply with the contract and take it.
You can't behave. Chit bhi meri, pat bhi.
So they are not really empowering the
highway or highway doesn't happen. What is this? I mean, their coterie Lingayat, their coterie Kuruba, their coterie Muslims, their coterie. You can go on and on and on and on and on. It doesn't wash. Let me go to Nizam.
One second, okay. Why doesn't any scheme of Siddaramaiah link Aadhaar, okay, and the PAN, and make sure that the person who is getting benefited is really coming into that category? Why doesn't any scheme of Congress have this kind of linking? Why? You see any BJP scheme, we ensure that the linking happens so that the person's real economic status is open, transparent for all.
Aadhaar is also undergoing changes, Anand Gurumurthy, and this is from the center, as in, so maybe I'll ask Nizam Fauzdar, even as you are planning to bring all guarantees under one ambit, because some of the ministers have said that there is a lot of, kind of embezzlement which goes on. Let's all bring it under one umbrella so that it's easy. We will get to know how much is being spent. Would you like to take Anand Gurumurthy? That why don't you have Aadhaar card? I don't know where that is coming from, because I was concentrating on 4% Muslim reservation. Go on, answer that. It's only it's only courtesy. It's courtesy.
Guru Murthy comes from the same school where Amit Malviya studied. Jhoot bolo, confuse karo, nahi to gali dene lag jaye. I think they're simple. Let it come under who created Aadhaar. It was the Congress party which created Aadhaar. For simple reason, we said direct cash to the pockets and the bank accounts of the beneficiaries. So then they opposed it when they were in the opposition. Right. Modi used to tear his clothes off and say Aadhaar is the worst thing in the country. It is this big scam. And then the next day, after taking the oath, he said Aadhaar is the best thing.
Okay.
So Guru Murthy and party have no idea what they're speaking.
All right.
It's simple. 4% to the minority community it's a good social justice.
All right.
And I don't think so BJP should oppose any community which can be empowered.
I've completely run out of time, but Nizam Fauzdar of the Congress says it's a good proposal to have, which means, ladies and gents, it's been put on hold for some time, but it's going to happen. And we shall have this debate. Once again, Nizam said very clearly that they believe in social justice, said 4% will happen. There's going to be a lot of hangama on this. Until next time, thank you both, Nizam and Anand, for joining me on this debate. The next story, which is coming up, is coming from Tamil Nadu. Orange alert issued as heavy rains lash Chennai. But is the city ready for the rain? That's the question we are asking.
Cooking is an act of law. The first act of law we receive from our mothers in the families.
Modern Indian food is all about contemporary and innovative approach to traditional Indian cooking.
Representation it's also important,
I want to wear this white coat every day and then be a chef.
There are stories. If the name of whiskey is Indri, then there is a whole story behind that.
Cooking food is like a therapy, and eating one is like a pleasure I can give it to myself. With Lounge Nights, I'm on a journey to celebrate and recognize the best food and nightlife establishments in various cities across India.
Radical presents Lounge Nights every Saturday and Sunday only on News9 Live.
How do you fulfill that promise? Because ultimately expectations have to be met. If you look at the political landscape, is it really changing for women? And what is the inability of the forces that dead bodies surface but not the living people?
All right, that's our next story. Is Chennai ready for the rains? That's a question we are asking, and we'll soon find out. In view of the heavy rains owing to the northeast monsoon in Tamil Nadu, the local administration has declared a holiday for schools, with colleges which are working as usual. In the last 12 hours, many parts of the KTCC, Kanchipuram, Thiruvallur, Chengalpet, Chennai have witnessed heavy rains, with most employees opting to work from home. Let's now talk about Chennai, the seat of Tamil Nadu government, and run you through whether Chennai shall cope with the second spell of northeast monsoon that flooded the city, particularly areas such as Velachery, Mylapore and Patalam. The Greater Chennai Corporation, the civic body towards which the people look for solutions each time it rains, has assured people that it has been working at breakneck speed trying to rectify loopholes, but one of the biggest concerns are incomplete storm water drains, also known as SWDs. And what happens when one of the SWDs get blocked? Have you thought about it? People are talking about how then the roads get flooded. And there are also other niggling issues as well. For example, one of the steps taken by GCC were ponds, which it built for rainwater to flow into SWDs. But then the question people are asking is that will the debris be cleared or not? The untreated sewage from buildings is discharged into the storm water drains. And what is the GCC's plan to mitigate that? Let's understand from an expert if there is a solution to this perennial problem of a deluge in Chennai, which has now become really epic during the rains, or not really. Badri Narayanan, civic activist and former president, TNHP Phase 1 Development Association Chennai, has joined us on this broadcast. Mr. Badri Narayanan, thank you so much for joining us on this debate. You know, tomorrow Twitter will be full of it, saying, oh God, this happened, that happened. And considering this is a show called The South Indian, it's our endeavor to kind of, do it as a first mover to let people know. Is a greater corporation, Chennai Greater Corporation, all ready to say that it's not going to repeat the mistakes that one had to encounter just a few months ago?
I would say no. The Greater Chennai Corporation had a very large size of experience in the 2015 floods when they actually identified over 90 plus stormwater drains to be worked at, and they also started working on it then, and there has not been proper maintenance of any of those rebuilt and newly built stormwater drains, and I'm aware that there are a lot of encroachments on stormwater drains in the northwestern part of Chennai, and in some places they say that even the corporation councillors have mentioned that the stormwater drains have been connected to the main drain line of the Buckingham Canal, though the corporation claims that about 92% of the stormwater drain work has been complete. It is completely false. That about one phase of the stormwater drain work is yet to take off, and several parts of the city, in several wards, essential heavy equipments which are necessary for desilting the canals haven't even been purchased, and yet they claim that work has been done and they are prepared.
Well, very well said, Badri Narayanan. I mean, you actually, what I had feared, it's come true, because every time this is the story, certain localities suffer a lot. Not Chennai suffers a lot. Mylapore has suffered. Velachery is people who live there, and my relatives, they say it's a nightmare, rains after rains after rains. Tell me something, some of them also have said that if you have to clear an SWD, which is a stormwater drain, apparently they get suction pumps, or they get tractors and everything, which puts more pressure on the roads and on the people. Would you agree, Badri Narayanan? Let's make it more people oriented, as it was, so that they understand.
So the heavy equipments that were supposed to be purchased is not just the tractors and the pumps. There are also amphibian vehicles which were to be purchased. But to my knowledge, the tender hasn't gone through even after 3 months of wait yet. And so since they don't have these sufficient number of amphibian vehicles, they are put to a position where they have to use tractors as amphibian vehicles, which aren't that much performant either. So they are doing a half-baked job of desilting using tractors, and the suction pumps are all minor, just terminologies that they use to fool the people.
We see Mr. Stalin and Udayanidhi Stalin, going for midnight checks and saying everything is so perfect. This time around, we are not going to have any problems. Well, politicians shall always be like that. They speak in folk tongues. But I'm going to ask you, is there a day when, because see, if you lack experience, sure, you can learn, as you move on. But how much of an experience does Greater Chennai Corporation need? This happens every season of the monsoon. We just saw what happened. people were on the streets, they were crying, they were saying, look at this, boats were out, you know, NDRF, SDRF, everyone was out. 2015 we all remember, and after that also subsequently, although the damage wasn't so great, but then the same kind of desperation comes to the fore. What is the problem, Badri Narayanan? Is it funds? Is it political will? Or is it just it's unmanageable for they are simply inefficient?
So it's all three put together actually.
Okay.
Because their inefficiency is the primary thing, and despite having immense experience, they do not get the funds on the right time to procure the right equipment before the right disaster. So if they get those equipments now after the floods, it's no point. It's just going to do some little bit of maintenance work after the disaster is over.
All right, Badri, I also want to ask you that what about the ponds that the Greater Chennai Corporation has created? Any comments on that? Apparently, it's a innovation. It's something which is new. Do you think that it works or it's counterproductive, Badri Narayanan?
So it's actually funny because amount of water bodies that Chennai had in 1960s has actually reduced, and there's no point creating smaller ponds to save this water. So the existing water bodies is something that they have to maintain. I am aware of a order of the Green Tribunal where they said they have to restore the size of the lagoon in Villivakam, but they haven't done that yet. So otherwise the lagoon would be about 4 times its size than what it is presently. They don't maintain the existing water bodies, yet they want to create new ones.
All right. I mean, so I want to ask you, Badri Narayanan, that, you know, if there are activists there are lots of people who work on this. But the point of the matter is that I don't think that this really is right on top for the politicians to solve. They don't care. They are only bothered about when will they get votes, what about caste, what about other things, new politician entering. This has never found, kind of credence with the politicians in Tamil Nadu. Would you agree?
I definitely agree, because any of these politicians take disasters as an opportunity to claim more funds from the central government. Other than that, I don't think they are interested in actually mitigating it.
All right.
Post-management of the disaster is one thing.
All right. So, I also want to ask you that is there any way that you, as somebody who's very well known, to work out and to be a stakeholder, citizens' participation in seeing that people don't suffer? Because in Chennai, people have started stocking up. They've started stocking up milk and essentials, like bread and everything, children's milk food, everything. Is there any which way that one can possibly, solve this, Badri Narayanan? Give us some hope.
But it is not an instant solution. The citizens have to work along with the government, clear up some of the slums which are on the banks of the existing water bodies, like Kuvam, Madayar and Posasthalayar. And that is essential to make the water body little wider, and that will help drain faster. So that the water logging is okay, flooding is not. So we can prevent floods by actually cleaning up some of the mistakes from the citizen side.
Thank you so much, Badri Narayanan, for joining us on this broadcast, and I hope Chennai doesn't suffer during the rains and there is no deluge as it's always happened. Thank you indeed.
I pray too.
And as promised, let's have a look at some of the headlines from the south of India. Then I come back. Okay, we are asking a very important question. In Wayanad, why is it that Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan, who's a constituent of the India bloc, is attacking Priyanka Gandhi Vadra? News9 decodes this for you. Enjoy.
Politics is heating up in the run-up to the Wayanad by-polls. Kerala Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan has accused Congress General Secretary Priyanka Gandhi Vadra of fighting the by-elections with the alleged backing of the Islamist organization Jamaat-e-Islami. Vijayan's statement isn't just an election season's jab, it's loaded with political